adversary, E. Jean Carroll, was just caught with a gun without a license. Okay, maybe it didn't just happen, but apparently she had this thing even during her long legal battles with Donald Trump, even after she sued the former president over a particular type of abuse. Now, the Warwick police report, it said that an officer offered to secure the pistol at the police station for safekeeping, or at least until E. Jean Carroll could obtain a license. But let me ask, isn't E. Jean Carroll liable for jail time for having a gun without a license? I mean, this is why former President Donald Trump is calling favoritism and double standards here. In fact, I think we're seeing double standards all over the place. In fact, he called the $83 million verdict in the E. Jean Carroll defamation trial absolutely ludicrous. And he wasn't the only one. You got to hear from Melania Trump on that one. Yeah, Melania was not happy. Now, former President Donald Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, she went ahead and backed off of a conflict of interest claim against the judge who presided over the E. Jean Carroll defamation trial after Carroll's lawyer threatened to pursue sanctions. Now, we are live. I hope everybody's able to see and hear me okay. Do we have a few people? Looks like we got a few people in the live here already. We've got Catalia in the house. We got Bob. We got Dew Freeman. What's going on, guys? If you guys could just take a quick second, hit the like button for the video. It totally helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And as always, I want to thank you guys so much for sharing these videos on Facebook and Twitter. We have a lot to cover today. Let's go ahead and get started. Happy Saturday, everyone. I hope you guys are doing very well today. All right. So basically they threatened to pursue sanctions of all things, right? So Alina Habba went ahead and filed a letter with the court citing a New York Post story, believe it or not, that said U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan and Carroll's attorney, Roberta Kaplan, who are not related, just kind of thought we'd mention that, had worked at the major law firm back in the 1990s. An unidentified former partner at the firm, which employs about 1,000 lawyers, told the Post that Lewis Kaplan had been like a mentor. Habba told the New York Post that the situation was insane and just so incestuous. And this is news to us. Habba, a day after the jury in the case hit Donald Trump with the $83.3 million verdict, Alina Habba said, quote, "We are going to include this in our appeal and take appropriate measures. The fact it wasn't disclosed is an ethics violation," end quote. So then Melania Trump made her feelings on the situation very clear. In fact, opting not to attend his post-arraignment speech, despite it occurring at their own house. New York Times' Katie Rogers, who wrote a book on First Ladies, reports that Melania Trump have privately called the legal proceedings an utter disgrace and believes that the trial itself is unfair. And as Rogers reported in her book, American Woman, the transformation of modern First Lady from Hillary Clinton to Joe Biden, Melania's former press secretary, Stephanie Grisham, said that Melania was pissed at Trump when she learned of the hush money payment and, quote, wanted him to be a little humiliated, end quote. Now that she canceled the Davos trip and skipped town. Now, obviously, it would be a good look for Trump if his wife appeared with him in court or defended him in any way. And according to her former press secretary, Melania Trump seems to know it. At the end of the day, she can pretty much make or break his candidacy. And Grisham told the Times, and so at the end of the day, she could probably make or break him. Now, I've wondered about this for a long time. How does Melania Trump feel about all of this? Whether it's true, whether it's not true, but just the general accusations and this type of story being in the news about your husband, it can't really feel good to any wife. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even if you're not married, you could kind of understand what she might be going through. I'm pretty sure you guys can. You guys are pretty sympathetic. All right. So anyway, I see a lot of you guys in the chat. Let me know what y'all think about this so far. So when it came out, Donald Trump said that on Truth Social that he fully disagrees with both the verdicts and will be appealing them this whole Biden directed witch hunt focused on him and the Republican Party. In fact, he said that our legal system is out of control and it's being used as a political weapon against him. And I don't think that a lot of Trump supporters would disagree with him. In fact, meanwhile, you got E. Jean Carroll. She's getting slammed for saying that she's going to be using the Trump money settlement to buy a new wardrobe. And so this was actually on the Rachel Maddow show. So Donald Trump caught wind of this. He wasn't all that happy. Carroll said that she's using some of Trump's money that she's about to get to shore up women's rights. Now, I don't know how much women's rights you're going to be shoring up at Macy's or Dillard's or Bloomingdale's or wherever she happens to want to shop, Louis Vuitton, who knows, right? Burberry, whatever, right? But then Carroll talks about going shopping and getting completely new wardrobes and shoes. And that's a direct quote from Rachel Maddow's interview. And speaking of double standards, Donald Trump also filed a defamation suit against ABC News and George Stephanopoulos for defamation after the host said several times on air that the former president was found liable for rape. Now, Stephanopoulos used the term liable for RAPE. I'm not going to say it a whole bunch of times on here, but basically 10 times during the interview. But a federal jury in New York decided that Donald Trump was not liable for this in the 2023 civil trial of the advice columnist E. Jean Carroll versus Donald Trump. Fox News contributor Leo Terrell predicts ABC News and George Stephanopoulos will have to write a rather large check to Donald Trump. I mean, why not though, right? Defamation should go both ways, right? They can go after him for defamation. Why can't he go after them for defamation, right? And then, of course, for the last piece, the hush money case in New York City right now, where Stormy Daniels, right alongside with Manhattan District Attorney General, well, actually, he's not the Attorney General, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and Judge Juan Merchan, they're trying to take down former President Donald Trump. Actual legal experts are having a hard time even coming up with a little bit of interest about the case. They're saying it's just complete bull. What do you guys think? Is this hush money case in New York City with your boy Alvin Bragg even is it even worth having? I mean, they're saying that Donald Trump may not be convicted of a felony in the case, and even if there's a reasonable chance of an eventual reversal on this appeal. Everyone's just calling this bull. It's total BS. I'm with you, Pastor Annie Mance. So here we have a Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg. He's in a very troubling position. And in the former President Donald Trump's hush money trial, at least according to a legal analyst, Jonathan Turley always has some interesting insights here. So Jonathan Turley, if you guys don't know, he's a well-known attorney, right? So Jonathan Turley posted on X that there was a troubling aspect about Bragg's position. So Alvin Bragg is saying that he may have given the names, but will not do so due to the alleged violations. Now this is questionable, right? So he goes on to say that the court should have been clear that any witness who may be called in the next 24 hours or so be disclosed. That is not one of the sanctions for a violation of the order. Now, Bragg's office may be saying that it will not reveal the names before it must. Bragg's office may be saying that it will not reveal the names before it must do so in light of the conduct of the president. Now, many judges would have encouraged him to do so and reminded Bragg that any sanction for a violation will rest with the court and the gag order, he wrote. Now, besides the charges, the charges are minor, really. In fact, like I said, there's so many bodies of judicial relevance that have reviewed these claims, these charges against Donald Trump previously, and they've decided not to pursue them. So again, you got to look at this like this is some bull that they're bringing out here, that DA Alvin Bragg is bringing up against Donald Trump, right? Everyone knows that these are held together with, old rubber bands and some gum, right? So besides, the charges are so minor, they don't expect that they're going to be shaking up the presidential race. In fact, it may actually make the situation worse for Donald Trump's opponent, President Biden, as it just confirms the White House sponsored conspiracy against the current Republican nominee, right? So a lot of talk about this one, guys. In fact, there's some information I can't wait to share with you guys about this one. So we found out that E. Jean Carroll, Donald Trump's accuser, has been hiding a gun without a license and basically had to turn it over to police, right? But more disturbingly is how Carrol had apparently been keeping the gun during her long legal battles with Donald Trump after she sued him over sexual abuse. Michelle Jones, thank you so much, love, for the $9.99 super chat. I totally appreciate you. God bless you this Saturday afternoon now. Saturday evening, technically, it's 7:22 p.m. Eastern. So they had to find out from a police report that NBC News dug up. So apparently, police in Warwick, New York, they took possession of the firearm after discussing the matter with E. Jean Carroll. So E. Jean Carroll said that she had always had a gun, but had not kept it loaded until after she accused the former U.S. president of doing whatever he allegedly did to her in the 1990s, and entered civil litigation with Donald Trump. So she's trying to blame what she did on Donald Trump. She comes after him, and then she's going to blame her preparation on Donald Trump. What do you guys think about that? Like, this is so ass backwards, if you ask me. Anyway, so after that, she loaded the revolver and put it next to her while she slept, out of what she called security fears. I don't know if I buy that. Now, just to kind of catch everybody up, May of last year, after a very, very rocky civil trial, a jury in Manhattan tried Donald Trump regarding the abuse of E. Jean Carroll in a New York department store changing room 27 years prior. I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. How do you remember the details of anything 27 years ago? Anyway, I digress. And what about the statute of limitations? Like, somebody please call BS when you see it. Anyway, so they went ahead and awarded her $5 million in compensatory and punitive damages, right? So the jury cleared him of the rape, but the verdict meant that for the first time, a former U.S. president became legally branded as a blank predator. Not a good look here, right? So less than a year later, another jury sitting in a separate defamation case stemming from Donald Trump calling Carroll a liar after she had accused him of essentially assaulting her in a particular way, awarded her more than $83 million. Wow. Unbelievable, right? So Donald Trump still denies any wrongdoing in ever knowing Carroll and has criticized her about it ever since she publicly made the allegations back in 2019 in a book. Who else is doing a book? Oh, yeah, that's right. Fannie Willis is also cooking up a book that she needs to get some of these copies sold. Maybe that's why Fannie Willis is so adamant about getting this case going again. We got to get some more of these copies sold. We can't become a New York Times bestseller with these Fannie Willis books sitting on the bookshelves collecting dust. So anyway, there's always a motive. Right? But what we're really talking about here is how E. Jean Carroll kept a loaded gun in her home by her bedside without a proper license or without proper registration or whatever the case may be, right? Now, according to the police report, the Warwick chief of police went to Carroll's home in February to discuss some open issues, including that in January, Carroll had disclosed in federal court during the defamation trial that she had an unlicensed firearm. Now, a lot of people are upset and up in arms with this statement, right? She had told the court she kept a high standard revolver, 9 chambers, at home with ammunition by her bed. She admitted this in court. So the Warwick police report basically said that an officer offered to secure the pistol at the police station for safekeeping until E. Jean Carroll got a license or got it registered or whatever the case may be, right? Now, I mean, I know people who have done 8 solid years in prison in New York for an unregistered gun. 8 years, okay? This makes people wonder how, if she were wearing maybe a red MAGA hat, they probably would have put her in prison by now. But, she wasn't wearing a red MAGA hat. She's actually kind of helping the cause. She's helping the narrative. So we'll just go ahead and put this gun away for you for safekeeping. No prison time. No prison time for you. No need for that, right? Or maybe they should fine E. Jean Carroll for possession of an unlicensed firearm. How about $85 million? That sounds about right. You can go after Donald Trump for $454 million for a non-victim crime. Why not go after someone else for $85 million for an unlicensed firearm? Seems fair. Seems about par for the course in New York City, right? Unbelievable. So could she be remanded to custody until her fines are paid? What do you guys think? Should she be remanded? Anyway, so the very official report confirms that she surrendered an unlicensed gun and that they're keeping it until she gets a license. Some people are saying, some people could see this as, double standard BS. What do y'all think? Is this a double standard to you? Please let me know what y'all think. If you disagree, that's cool too. We can still be friends. Let me see what y'all are saying in the comments. Why in the world would Trump want that woman when he could have paid $2 for someone better? Thank you so much, Jay Mullins, for your comment. Dude, when you look at pictures of E. Jean Carroll, what do you think of? What comes to mind? Think about the allegations and then look at her picture again. I just want to know what y'all think in the comments, please. So, in fact, comments on the story say that she should be the one in jail. Now, anybody else would be behind bars. So it's definitely infuriating a lot of people, right? So now, the double standards, they just don't stop. But I just want to take a second and just appreciate you guys for always hitting the like button for the videos. You guys are always amazing to me. You guys are always sharing the videos on Facebook and Twitter. And I just want to thank you guys so much for doing that, including this one. But there's more. There's always more, right? So there's, Donald Trump filing his own defamation lawsuit related to this E. Jean Carroll lawsuit. So take a listen to this here.
Donald Trump is taking on George Stephanopoulos. The former president has filed a defamation lawsuit against the ABC host because of this explosive interview with South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace on his Sunday morning show.
You're shaming me for my political choices.
I'm asking you a question about why you endorse someone who's been found liable for rape.
Mace, who was raped when she was 16, pushed back when Stephanopoulos insisted that Trump had been found liable for rape in the E. Jean Carroll civil case.
This was a civil judgment over sexual abuse, not rape, by the way.
Trump was watching, and now he's suing Stephanopoulos. In a complaint filed Monday, his attorney wrote, the jury expressly found that Trump did not commit rape. Stephanopoulos falsely stated otherwise.
Oh, boy. So just to be clear about this, guys, Stephanopoulos, he used the term liable for it like 10 times during the interview. That's a lot. But a federal jury in New York decided that Donald Trump was not liable for it in the 2023 civil trial of advice columnist E. Jean Carroll versus Donald Trump. Now, as Fox News contributor Leo Terrell put it, ABC News and George Stephanopoulos cannot find a civil or criminal verdict for Donald Trump for this particular crime. Now, again, there's not a single legal document on earth that actually finds Donald Trump liable for this. So he predicts ABC News and George Stephanopoulos will likely have to write a rather sizable check, probably with a couple commas in it. So Terrell called it, in his professional legal opinion, a slam dunk case for defamation against ABC News and George Stephanopoulos. What do y'all think on that? He even noted how the other left-wing networks are now very, very careful not to use this particular phrase. In fact, he says it probably means that their corporate attorneys have advised them not to do that. I mean, that would be wise to do so. Plus, you got ABC News and Stephanopoulos. They can't claim ignorance as they had all the money and all the resources to research the validity of the blank claim prior to the Mace interview. And so instead, the whole purpose of George Stephanopoulos' statement was to, and this is what the allegations are saying, intentionally harm and hurt President Trump's chances for the presidency. And so the lawsuit claims Stephanopoulos' statements and, they're false and they were made with actual malice or with a reckless disregard for the truth, given that the defendant, Stephanopoulos, knows these statements are patently and demonstrably false. So they went on to say, they also said that Donald Trump's representatives contacted ABC seeking a retraction following the interview, but the Disney-owned news network failed to apologize or correct the record. That doesn't sound like they were sorry, at least based on the information that we have so far. Representative Nancy Mace, who was in the interview with Stephanopoulos, stood by Donald Trump and called for Republicans to stop appearing on the Disney-owned news network until Stephanopoulos is held accountable. Wow. This is huge, isn't it, guys? Figgle Snorp T Duck, thank you for the huge $20 super chat this evening. Happy Saturday to you, my friend. God bless you as well. I really do appreciate that. So she said that Bob Iger needs to get control of ABC News and that actions like this, they are the reason why Americans have lost complete trust in the press. Now, we're going to see how this Trump defamation lawsuit plays out, guys, for sure. I'm going to keep y'all posted on that. In fact, in the headlines these days is the New York hush money trial against Donald Trump. To put it very simply, people want the hush money case to be the big case that can take down Donald Trump because, well, it may be the only one to go to trial before the election. So basically, the far left Joe Biden's goons, they've basically put all their money behind this one particular basket here. So they need to cash in on this one. Otherwise, they may be sorely disappointed. So there's a very good chance Donald Trump won't be convicted of a felony. And even if he is, the conviction could be easily, well, I don't know if I'm going to say easily, it could be overturned in an appeal, right? So plus, you got the charges. The charges seem just way too minor to really have any kind of real impact on the presidential race, except for the fact that it's just like wasting a lot of his time and it's blocking him because he's got to sit in a stupid freezing courtroom for like 10 hours a day. So he cannot campaign like his political rival, Joe Biden. And this is done on purpose, guys. Watch this. Keep an eye on this here, right? In fact, they might even try to further complicate things. So here's the gist. So Trump is basically accused of falsifying business records by channeling corporate funds through his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, in order to pay off adult film star Stormy Daniels. Now, this was supposedly to keep her quiet about their alleged encounter, right? Now, these charges are likely just a misdemeanor, especially for first-time offenders like Donald Trump, which means jail time is highly unlikely unless there's always a caveat, right? Unless there's more to the case. But of course, New York City District Attorney Alvin Bragg is pushing for a felony conviction, arguing that Donald Trump used these falsified records to hide other crimes, possibly related to election or tax laws. But of course, your boy Alvin Bragg he won't tell you what these other crimes are. He's just kind of keeping that a secret. We won't talk about that. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. So, you know what I'm saying? Like the Wizard of Oz here. Anyway, so Donald Trump's opponents, they might want to try to frame this as a major election interference to kind of like sway voters, right? But a lot of people are actually going to see right through this charade. Like you guys see through this charade, right? And they're going to find the case a lot less compelling than they would want it to look. Okay, so basically the tax charges could potentially strengthen the case for a felony, but that's still up for debate, right? So the whole felony angle hinges on Donald Trump's intent. And they have to prove this without a shadow of a doubt, whether he falsified records specifically to conceal the crimes or perhaps to keep things away from Melania Trump. Now, it's possible all the jurors could be convinced of his illicit intentions, but the thing is even if just one of the jurors doesn't, then it means a hung jury, and that also means no conviction. So, I mean, if you guys were on my live the other day, I think it was yesterday actually, I gave you guys a little brief excerpt on hold on. AJ said, "Why would Trump want to eat at Stormy?" AJ says, look at AJ's comment, y'all. AJ says, "Why would Trump want to eat at Stormy's fish taco stand?" All right. So I mean, like, there was that John Edwards case, which also involved hiding an affair, and it ultimately resulted in an acquittal and a hung jury on several charges, right? So a hung jury, acquittal, or even a major or even a minor conviction, it's just going to prove that the witch hunt was set up against Donald Trump. Not to mention, even if he does get convicted, Trump will probably have some solid grounds for an appeal, given the blurry lines around whether, hush money payments should be considered legitimate, campaign expenses, or perhaps, personal expenses, and whether the failure to report some of these expenses even violates New York State election law. Patricia Ritchie, thank you so much for joining the channel's members, and God bless you on this Sunday. On this Saturday. I'm like all over the place today, guys. I need some more coffee. And yeah, I think I'll be back on track. I've been kind of up early this morning. So anyway, Patricia, thank you so much for joining and becoming a lovely member of the channel. Thank you so much for the support. So yeah, I mean, this is where we are, guys. I mean, like, ultimately, this could just end up being just one big blip in the run up to the election, right? We got a few more months. Sometimes it feels like it's like an eternity away, but you know how it goes. November will be here before you know it. But hey, they're still making sure that we're not missing a beat, right? So I'm gonna keep you guys posted on everything that's coming up. Again, these updates will continue to come out faster and faster because, the left is getting really, really concerned about this upcoming election. And like I said, heads are going to roll. So it's not, like I said, it's not just about people getting fired if Donald Trump wins this 2024 presidency. It's about who's going to end up going to jail or being put through the ringer if Donald Trump ends up becoming president of the United States again. Because like I said, there's no way, there's a snowball chance in hell that Donald Trump doesn't try to get even with a lot of these dirty folks who are currently in these different offices. So rest assured. Carrol Brown, thank you so much, love, for the $1.99 super chat. Carrol Brown says, "Really enjoy your videos and my first live chat." Awesome. I'm so glad you're able to hang out with me on this live today. So what do you guys have planned for today? You guys doing anything? Have you guys already done something? I know it's getting kind of late. It's like, what, 7:39 p.m. right now. Keith, appreciate you, brother. I try to bring some interesting points of view here. Catalia says, "I'm going to have lots of popcorn ready for that day." Awesome. All right, guys. Well, I really do appreciate y'all rocking with me today. I'm already working on the next video, believe it or not. So if you haven't already, do hit the like button. Definitely subscribe to the channel. Make sure your notification bell is turned on so you get notified when we go live. And thank you so much for always sharing these videos on Facebook and Twitter. Totally appreciate the love, you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Take care.